Hey there, and welcome to Hangout with Hewlett. I'm your festival friend and host, Jordan Hewlett. Every Thursday, I'll invite you to come take some time out of your day and hang out with me. I'll share stories about my life, interviews, and talk about attending music festivals and shows. On this podcast, I'll be joined by friends, family, dance music lovers, business owners, and so many more amazing faces. Let's get this hangout started. Hey everyone, welcome back to Hangout with Hewlett. This week I am joined by a very special guest, and he goes by the name of Max. Max, welcome to Hangout with Hewlett.
Hello, hanging out with Hewlett. Love it, much appreciated.
Welcome to my podcast. Introduce yourself, give us your background, who you are.
Okay, well, my name is Maximilian. I am the older family member, brother, cousin. I don't know what we're labeled. I mean, she's always been my little sister or my little god sister, whatever it is. But I'm basically been her family since the day she's been born.
Very true. You're another older brother I never asked for, but got anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm one of those.
So why did you want to come on my podcast? I'm excited to have you, but why did you want to join me today?
I want to join you because I always love the fact when you have friends or family wanting to pursue something that they enjoy, and seeing how much you've enjoyed doing this podcast. I was like, man, I would just love to have some record of being able to be on a show with her. So when, she moves on to bigger and better things, she can be like, well, I also have my family with me to help me out. So that's why I wanted to be on the show.
Well, I'm honored to have you today. I'm excited to talk to you, dive into who you are, your career, and just tell people all about yourself and maybe give some advice to people who want to pursue the same career path.
Cool. I'll do the best I can. I hope it's good.
So what is your current profession right now?
My current profession right now is an actor, a model, and a musician.
So everything entertainment, pretty much.
Yeah, anything that has to do entertainment, I'm basically currently still going through it.
And how long have you been in the industry?
I've been in the industry now for 4.5 years. Damn, a whole high school worth of time.
Yeah, that's crazy that it's been that long.
I know, right?
What age did you know you wanted to be in, like, the entertainment industry, that you wanted to do all this?
I would say come my senior year of high school, I always wanted to get into the entertainment. I've always enjoyed theater, art, music. I don't believe that I was going to pursue it though, especially in college, because as a ex-athlete, all I really cared about was sports. So all that was kind of in the back end, but there definitely was that if sports doesn't work out, I would love to try the entertainment.
And look, here you are 4 years later doing it.
Right.
What has your career timeline been like? Like, what did you start doing first?
First thing I started doing was background acting. It's basically, all the people when you're watching a TV show and you see people kind of make crosses around the main characters, or people kind of doing regular life living stuff around in the scene. Those are actual actors. Like, those people actually get paid to not speak on set and actually act out some sort of direction. If it's drinking coffee, or if it's walking right next to the character, or even bumping the main character. But those are actual actors. And that was actually my first task in this industry.
Do you remember the first thing you were in?
Yes, I do. I remember I was actually in NCIS.
I feel like I also remember that.
Right. I was like my first big go with this, and it kind of changed my perspective on television, because when you watch it, you would never think you just think it'd be random people in the background.
Yeah.
And it's like you would think they would just do the most random stuff. Like, okay, I'm just gonna act like this. But no, there's so much structure and direction for those people that they have to where you have somebody in the back telling them, like, okay, you walk around this coffee table and then sit down. And then your person next to you will ask you to do something else and you have to play off that. And you have all this going on with like 50 to 100 people going down.
Yeah, honestly, thinking about that when I'm watching things, every person has a direction or like something that they have to do for a specific scene. So it's kind of wild.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you would never think that when you watch television.
Right. So out of acting, modeling, and music, is there one that you prefer to do?
Music. I think music is the one that allows you to truly express yourself and you have all control over as well. Modeling and acting, you do not have a wide range of control. You're basically told what to do, when to do, and how to do it. And with music, it's self-expression. Like you could talk about anything when you want to talk about it, how you want to talk about it. And, you know, basically whenever you want to drop it, you can drop it. So you have more of a flexible schedule with music.
Right. Your creative process is a lot easier.
Oh, so much easier. And it's also therapeutic, you know, because I mean, you some people do find acting therapeutic, but I would have to say the only way I find that is like when you do theater. Because like in theater, it's do or die. It's either, and I've done theater before. I had to prove to myself that I actually could do theater before I did the fake type of acting, which is somebody giving lines. But when you're standing in front of a crowd, even if it's like 5 to 10 people, and you have to remember each line per line and also give that crowd what emotion that character's supposed to go through, it really does show you like, okay, I can act or I'm trash.
That's true. You'd certainly get over your stage fright if you have any, if you're going to either perform well or, like you said, do or die.
Yeah. Your back is against the wall, and it's such a great experience. So anybody who's wanting to act out there, I would suggest the first thing you do is definitely look for like a small little theater that's just putting like a small production together and just see how you do in that moment.
That's good advice. I kind of regret not acting in high school. And then I look back at David, my brother, for people who don't know, and the fact that he acted and was in a full-blown musical. And I'm like, the fact that he didn't and I didn't is wild.
Right. No, 1000%. So why did you not pursue that? Because I felt that has been always like, you're very charismatic. You know what I mean? So I thought that definitely would have been a route that you would have at least tried.
I think for me, we just didn't have like a big like music program, but we had like a great small talented one. And also just being like in cheer, the only time I would have had like a small break was when like football and basketball wasn't going on. But then as soon as like that fall break wasn't happening or like spring sports wasn't happening, it was like gearing up for the next season. So it was kind of just always like a conflict of just like time. But yeah, I think maybe now I was like, I know people now who are in like theaters. I was like, if I wanted to, I could definitely do it.
Yeah, no doubt. I would 1000%, I would definitely go out and try it if you have the time, just because it, like I said, it's a whole different experience in itself, but you'll be able to look back later on in life and go, I'm glad I did that, or I'm glad I got that out the way, because that's something that I fulfilled that I wanted to do. So it's like I have no regret on doing those 2 theater shows, you know?
Right. Yeah, you know me. I'm always been a performer.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead one time and get yourself in a little school next stage productions and of Cats and just see what's up.
Sounds good. I'll let you know how that goes. So getting back
Bet.
to music, what is your songwriting process like?
My songwriting process always derives from a chorus. I always get started from a statement or a thought that kind of like comes to mind at that time, and then I will branch out from there. So I kind of, when it comes to writing, I'm kind of ass backwards because like I'll start from the chorus and then have the chorus in the instrumental, and then after that be like, okay, now I'll write words in between here, and hopefully these words kind of blend into the chorus. So it's definitely a different method to madness.
Just going backwards, but whatever works for you. And everyone is so different with everybody's process, but however you get it done and whatever works best for you and allows you to write, I think works for you.
Yeah, agreed. I think structure is more of a guideline more than a like necessary, like a, it's not necessary. It's kind of like a small blueprint of like, if you want to do it this way, you can. But I think a lot of people get stuck on that because they believe that they need to do it that way to be able to create a song or a poem or essay or whatever it is. But as you said, like everyone's creative process is completely different. So it's about finding your own way of being, this is what I can handle and this is what works for me. So I'm going to go ahead and do it this way.
Yeah, I get that. Who inspires you musically?
Whew, that's a good one. Musically, I was brought up in the 90s. I mean, hell, your dad knows this. Because I mean, your dad and my dad are like right there when it comes to music. I can remember days when we'd be in the summer, we'd be on the boat and we're bopping like all this music that we shouldn't be listening to, like at the age of like 8 or 9, from 112 to Blackstreet, Boys to Men, uh, Brian McKnight. There's so many artists out there from that time that like truly inspires my writing style. My writing style is more of like a 90s, I want to say a 90s throw up worth of artists because it generally derives from a lot of emotion, but also positive and love emotion.
That's a good way to describe it. Is that the reason why you went into making like R&B and hip hop music, do you think?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Just because myself as a character of my own, I've always been very loving, and it took me a while to understand that that was actually a big part of who I was love. That I have an abundant amount of it, and that when I can give it out so easily. And when I saw that and I applied it to my music, it would always be something so upbeat and so positive and so happy and so caregiving that it kind of stood me uh, out from everything else in the music industry, because the music industry is kind of diluted at the moment. It's very still the same, like drugs, sex, money, to where I'm talking about love, togetherness, forgiveness, wholesomeness, which is completely on the other side of the map.
Honestly, and we need more of that because so much of it and the music that you talk about is garbage. And my dad is like, how do you guys
Oh yeah,
listen to this? And I'm like, I don't listen to this.
I don't. Yeah, I don't. They do, right? But at the same time, it's a different generation, because I mean, if you were to talk to people who are kind of, I would still put you in our generation, Jordan. Like, you may not think that, but we were born off like the same cloth, like same music being that brought up. It's like we were surrounded by music that expressed love and expressed care for one another. It wasn't just trash. Like, it wasn't just like, oh, we in the club, I bought a girl a drink, she said hi, then I threw a stack at her face. Like, what, at what point did we get anything from that message but a good instrumental behind it and maybe something to dance to, compared to something that was like, I went out, I saw a beautiful lady, she looked at me back, we shared a wonderful moment, I walked her to the door, I got a kiss. Like that hole right there, you're kind of just like, oh man, that gives me faith in what true love may be.
Yeah, it paints a way better picture for the listeners, and makes you actually kind of feel something, which music should do.
Right. Right. Because music, I believe music is one of the biggest influences ever. Like a song could bring somebody back from depression, and a song could actually make you depressed.
Absolutely. I say that like music is part of my whole life. Like, you know me, I've been singing since I was out of the womb, basically. Like,
Right.
it's
Right.
always been a constant in my life, or like it's always somebody something. Like whenever things are bad, like you have that one thing to like turn to that can instantly change your mood or make you feel upbeat or better.
Oh yeah, in a quickness. And you know what songs they are. Like there's songs right now that you can quote that are still from like the 1980s. And that's how powerful music is. The fact that I can quote something from almost 40 years ago that it'll make me feel better, you can't tell me that's not influential.
No, not at all. Do you have a favorite song that you've written?
I actually have a couple. I actually have a couple songs that for myself explain kind of two ways of the sword of love, as I would call it, because love is always a double-edged sword. Love can hurt you, or love can give you strength. So the two songs that I would have to say that I wrote would be Solo, which explains a certain situation between me and another person in my relationship, to where I was actually done wrong in the relationship, and which hurt a lot, of course, because I mean double-edged sword. And then I would also have to say Genuine Soul, which is the other end of the sword, that I met somebody who was able to who I believe to have a beautiful soul, somebody who was able to help me up and give me strength.
No, that's beautiful. Guys, go listen if you haven't. I'm plugging you.
Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Yes. And let me know, up and coming, definitely independent artists, no labels, don't want to be labeled. I feel like they pimp you for everything you have, and also being in that side of the industry, just learning as much as I possibly can. If there's any artists out there who are listening to this, weigh out your options. Weigh out your options when it comes to a label. See what really works for you. And if it doesn't work for you, there's plenty of people to ask out there. We have so many ways of communicating with certain people. Like, shoot, you need a lawyer to look over a contract to see, what percentage of whatever you might get, like what percentage are you losing when you sign to this label? What is really the ins and outs of the contract? Like, shoot, I don't care. Message me. I'll plug you into people who I've met over the years. But just really weigh your options out, because there's an example for a couple artists who I've met who've been approached by labels, like Kyle from Ventura, huge I Spy with My Little Eye, great
Love
friend of
him.
yeah, great friend of mine. And he got signed to a label, and he recently just went independent. So he played the game to where it benefited him. He knew what he wanted to do, and the label was able to give him a certain um, guidance in what he wanted to do. And he was like, I'm only going to be in here for a while, and then once I get to a certain spot, I'm out. So he played the game very well, but he weighed his options. He understood he was a kid from a small town who wasn't going to get too much publicity if he did not sign with somebody. And he took advantage of it. And during that, he played very smart hands in some of the opportunities he was given, to where now financially he's fine. And he can go, okay, well, I'm done with this. And he goes independent, to where sometimes during that, even in small conversations that we've had back and forth, with the difficulties of not having creative control, which is huge for our artists, not being able to drop a song when he wanted, if he wanted to actually do a song with the artist that the label wanted him to do it with.
That's great.
So those small little things. So any artists out there, please weigh out your options before you just believe that these labels are here to help you. Some are and some aren't.
That's great advice. And just think about everything, consider all of your options, but definitely do seize the opportunities that are given to you and take them. take advantage of them.
Agreed, 1000%.
With on that note of like being in the industry, what do you think is one of the worst parts of being in the industry?
The fakeness. I grew up in Louisville, Kentucky, even though I was born in Ventura. I grew up in a Midwest, very respected small town in Louisville. And we grew up, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, please, thank you, opening up doors for women, like the whole 9 yards. It's just a matter of respect, to where it's a very old school where you shake somebody's hand and that is a binding contract. Like, you are a man of your word. And getting into the industry, you find out really quick that they are not shy in gaining off of your success or your opportunity. And they have no remorse with the decisions that they make because it benefits them. So in this industry, I would have to forewarn everybody that it is not a godly industry. It's not it's not about Jesus in this industry. They kind of worship the god of money. And are you gonna make them money? Are you about your money? And also image is a huge thing in this industry as well. How you carry your persona, how many followers you have. It is a there's a lot of negative energy for all you positive, upbeat people out there who want to get in this industry. Don't allow that to change who you are, because it will try to. And it will do it in such a seductive way that you won't even know that you are changing.
That's so true. And I feel like as someone who has like watched celebrities and listen to music, like you can tell when celebrities are changing, and like when fame starts to influence who they are and when things start to change. But I've always admired people who do stay true to themselves and show who they really are to their fans and who they are, like just being open and honest.
Yeah, and which is a rarity in this industry, because everyone's so quick to be, oh, well, this is the character that is becoming accepting to this industry, so I'm gonna stay like this because it's more accepted. To be yourself in this industry is not a real thing. They really do try to mold you into somebody who is willing to do a lot of immoral stuff that you might be against to gain success. And I think that's where my knowledge in this industry, of being in it so long and staying true to myself, has a great understanding with now. Because when I first got into it, like my first couple years, oh my God, Jordan, I was a completely different person. I was posting on social media about what I was doing, who I was with, what area I was in, because that's what was accepted. That was more accepted. People saw that I was working towards certain dreams that a lot of people don't go towards, and I was succeeding in it. And even making decisions that I wouldn't want to do personally, and jumping into those situations, to where now I look at, I was like, why would I would do that? Like, what did that do? What did that gain me but some followers, and then also losing some of my true friends? So it's like the cost of success is sometimes not even worth it. Like, no, let me not say sometimes. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because you look back and you go, I can't believe I sacrificed that and I lost this for that, and this hasn't even lasted that long.
I feel that. Do you think you have any regrets so far in your career?
I would say no, because I've stuck a lot to who I am, and I'm thankful for my friends and family for the guidance on that, because I know I couldn't have without them. And anybody out there listening as well, like your real loved ones will always tell you what is truly right when they know your heart. And I suggest you guys lean on them more than just acting as if they're against you, because they're not. They know who you are, they know what you're about, and they'll always be there to support you. And thankfully, I've had great figures in my life, from your dad to, you know, my dad, my mom, very hard nosed, very will tell you straight, true, and honest. Yeah, like not afraid to like torch
Right.
you and break you down,
We get it. That's
but
why
do it
I'm so
for
blunt.
the real reasons of, yeah, straight up. And it needs to be that way. It needs to be that way. And thankfully to them, um, I've been able to dodge a lot of uh I've been able to dodge a lot of the devil's deals, because the devil will deal you a lot, and he will try his best to get you to do something that you're not about, for, like I said, that small progression of success.
Facts. Lean on your support system. I'm so thankful for, like you said, our parents are amazing. I'm so grateful to your mom and dad and my mom and dad to always just, telling us how it is and raising us to, learn right from wrong and to make those smart decisions. Because we are a lot, I'm gonna say, luckier than some people.
Agreed. And if you have friends, families who adopt you, because how many mothers and fathers do you think that we have besides our parents, Jordan? Like
So
we have
many. So
there's
many.
a huge list of other people that basically called us, that's my son or that's my daughter.
Right. So
And
many other people. I'm
that
like,
is a blessing.
right. There are so many other people that I text on like Mother's and Father's Day because they were my step parents or my protectors when my dad was working late or someone needed to take me home from cheer practice or drive me home from a Friday night. There are so many people that I'm grateful for like stepping in and playing that parent role. So if you have friends or family or anybody that you can lean on and support, you turn to them too.
Yeah. And love them just as much as you do your own parents, because
Absolutely.
it still pays out. Like this is I'm saying this on the podcast, but it's like my ex's family, the one who broke my heart, is still like my mother and dad. Like they will literally check in on me like every 6 months and just be like, hey, checking in on you, how's work, how's life, how's health, I hope everything's going well. Okay, we can't talk anymore for like the next 6 months, because she just like,
The quick check-in. Okay, bye. See you in a
okay,
few
bye.
months.
Yeah, we're gonna keep this on the low. Like, but that in itself shows the abundance of love that you can get from anybody in this world.
Absolutely. Love that. With all of the craziness going on in the world, how do you stay motivated to create?
Oh, that's a great one. I believe because there's a lot of craziness in the world, it gives me motivation. Uh, I feel that I was put on this world to love. I think that was my light in myself, and now being a time and position where there's a lot of opposition against a lot of people, like it's like the new racism. Like vaccines are the new like racism. Like, are you vaccinated? It's like, that's the question now. That's a real question. That's almost asking like, well, are you mixed? Like, yo, that's it's so gnarly to believe that that question itself can really, you could lose a job, you could lose a friend, you know, all because of a belief of, you know, are you vaccinated, are you not? You know, it's so I believe during this times of craziness that I will be a good beacon of just positivity and love, no matter where it comes from. If it comes from people in the industry, if it comes from people in my family, or if it comes from friends, is just to let them know, like, hey, regardless of if you're on this side or on that side, you're loved for, you're cared for, and I'm here always.
That's a great answer. What is an artist that you would want to collaborate with, or who is an artist or a group of artists you would want to work with in the future?
Okay, that was good because my list has changed so much. I still want to work with Kyle, just because I have like a old goal of mine. There was only two rap groups at the time in Ventura. It was KID and Mr. Man, and then there was Connected, and I was actually part of Connected, and Kyle was KID, and I always used to joke about when we first started that one day we'd be on stage together. So that's one thing I want to just go ahead and manifest and be like, see, bro, I told you he was gonna do it. It may not have been when we thought he was gonna be, but it's gonna happen. And then also I would have to say Russ. Russ is a um, huge artist that I would love to work with, just because I think he resembles a lot of what I idolize. Someone who did it by themselves, who didn't need really a lot of people to help him, and he still is going, huge on an own independent scale.
I definitely see the Russ and you collab. I can definitely feel the vibe. And whenever that Kyle happens, the Kyle show, the back-to-back you guys are performing at, I want tickets, and I want I want the I want the first interview after.
Facts. No worries. Can definitely do that. But if I could throw a dope concert, I would love to throw like a 90s bash concert to where people wouldn't even know. So I would have like my own little thing for myself, but I would bring out NSYNC, I would bring out the Backstreet Boys, I bring out 98 Degrees, and I would just have all three of them just kind of like do their own stuff to kind of just raise that old nostalgic 90s vibe that we all grew up on.
That would be so good. I hope it happens one day.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like you're just sitting out in the crowd, whatever, you're listening to my music, and then it's just like a drop, like you hear like boom, there's NSYNC, and then one more song for me, and then it's like boom, Backstreet Boys, they do their own little thing. It's like boom, 98 Degrees only had one song, but hey, people still remember them. So they do their one song and do their thing. And just to be able to have that type of old school vibe and nostalgia, I think would be one of the concerts that people would go, that was one of the best concerts of my life.
It sounds like it would be. Everyone's invited.
Yeah, like people still hold on to the ticket when they're old and just be like, I can't believe I was there. Like Maximilian really brought out NSYNC, and then Backstreet Boys, and then 98 Degrees. Like how? How is that possible?
We know people.
Right, facts.
I'm gonna keep working on that. I'm gonna manifest that for you, that you make that happen in a few years.
I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep on manifesting it too.
You're welcome. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I see myself in 5 years in a oh wow, that's a really good deep question. I see myself in a completely different vibe. Actually, I see myself most likely a family man at that point. I feel like I will have a family. I feel that I will kind of be at the top of the peak of my artistry, whether it be acting and or music. I feel like within those 5 years, I will catch a really good wind and have a couple tours, have a couple concerts. And I would like to do like the Logic and be retired, like get in, because he played it smart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like bro got in, he did his thing, he did his music, and then it was just like boom, retired. Like I'm retired from the game, and I could easily say like if when I do that, I will sit there and I will write for every other artist for financial, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if somebody wanted me to play or something like that, but it's definitely become one of the dreams, instead of being in the game for so long, to just enjoy the ride and going out on top. Like you had your 5-year run, you did your tours, you had your awards, you have enough money now, and now I'm gonna retire and I'm gonna let the next Maximilian come through and do his thing and help support that Maximilian, you know what I mean? And help support all these other artists and be able to give back on the experience and the hardships and the lifestyle, and look at it and be like, this is what I have. If you can make the same thing as I did, great, but I want you to have more than I did, you know?
Yeah, that would be awesome to give back and teach others like what you've learned on your journey and your career so far, and obviously like making it and then being able to share all of your like experience and lessons about like industry, and like you said, like weighing your options. That would be so valuable to so many other artists who are starting out.
Right, because you don't get it. In this industry, they don't tell you anything. Like there's no sense of help when there's so much out there that people could gain if people were to help out people, but there's a lot of selfish nature in this industry where they believe like, oh, well, if I give him this game, then I'm shit out of luck on mine. And you kind of like, nah, bro, like you give me this game, I'm gonna look out for you, but I'm a different type of character. Some people it is like that. Some people are like, I'm gonna take this game, I'm gonna run with it, and I ain't gonna give you nothing for this game. Where in all honesty, you should be able to give people game and not expect anything back.
Right. I think it's about like changing your mindset and knowing that there's enough opportunity out there for everyone. Like it's not about like, oh, this person's getting this, so I'm not able to. I think it's about how can I be the next person or like next to that person. Like there's so many people I admire, and it's about like learning not to be jealous of they have this opportunity. It's like, oh my gosh, how can I join them in this opportunity?
Right. And that comes down to the whole society. I mean, look at what we're in right now. We are controlled by social media. That just plain and simple. Every time people go on social media, tell me whenever you go on Instagram or whatever like that, when you're done scrolling, like you don't feel good about yourself.
No, I turned off my likes on Instagram just because I want to post what I want to post. Like it's not about, oh, I'm getting this many likes or people commenting. Like I want to share whatever the hell I want, and I don't want to care about it. And it's such like a relief of not getting anxious, like, oh, this post didn't do as well as like this post.
Did I break this amount?
Right.
Did I beat last time? Did I beat my last post? And it's like, what kind of competitive nature is that? Like, why are we're competing with each other and we know it? We're like, yo, so and so got 81 likes on her stuff. Well, watch this. I'm gonna post this and hashtag that, and then I'm gonna show a little bit more than her, and then I'm gonna beat her off. And then it's a competition that doesn't need to be, because we're so worried about that we're not even looking about what's going on in the world right now. Like we're not even looking about all the small changes. Like, yo, schools are about to mandate vaccinations. You know how many kids probably won't be going to school no more at some point because their parents are like, I don't want to get you vaccinated. How does that help us with our learning? How does that help us push? Like, how is our generation supposed to learn in a very controlled school, very controlled learning place to even succeed in the future?
Right. There's so many bigger issues going on in the world besides an Instagram post.
Right. But that's what we're worried about. And to celebrities. Like that, you can't tell me right now that you probably don't have a couple of friends that can tell you everything that's going on with the Kardashians.
Oh, definitely.
Right. Why? Why? And then they get mad when you try to say something like, I don't like the Kardashians. Well, did you know that Kourtney had it? Like, no, I didn't know. Why does it matter so much to you if Kourtney did yada, yada, yada? What's the reason? How does that affect your life? Does she pay your bills?
No,
does she send you food? No. But to them, that's like they're holding it down for their family. They're like, yo, Kourtney for life.
Nope, can't say that. That's me, and I'm so happy.
Right. And that's a blessing. That's a blessing, because you look at life as it is. You're thankful for who's in your life. You're thankful for what's given in your life. And that's why you've been so successful in your life. You've done a lot, love. Like you hate to bring up bad, but like you've lost a mother at such a young age.
Yeah.
Huge obstacle to overcome, especially when you guys were so close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You graduated high school, you graduated college, and you did them with both great grades. You're killing it right now after college. You have your own podcast. Like, you are completely thriving in life because you see how life is.
Right. And I've learned to definitely not take things for granted, which is so important. And although, like you said, a shitty situation, but I think that I have learned so much, and I have been able to help people who are going through the same things. Like, I have a best friend who just lost a parent, and I wish that upon no one, especially like at a young age, especially like Paige was so young, and so it was awful to get through, but I'm able to help so many other people because of it now. So I'm thankful for that.
Right. And that just shows the strength that you built from it, you know what I mean? And it carries on because you are able to be there for other people. It's that love in you that you were given.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have a lot of love around me, like you and your family. And it just helps that I have an amazing support system. And I wish that everyone has like this similar situation.
Right. And to everybody else listening, like, y'all, you are loved and you are cared for. Like, don't forget that. Keep that in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, that you are somebody special and you can get through anything and everything will be okay because you are loved.
Exactly. Couldn't have said it better myself. My DMs are literally always open if anybody ever wants to talk to me. I talk a lot. That's why I have a podcast, but I'm always here to listen to.
Yeah, same here, but don't be sliding in there because my girl won't be happy.
True.
You better come to me with some real stuff. I ain't trying to hear all this like, oh, you're cute. Like, nah. Like, you're love too, but at the same time, like, nah, my girl checks my text messages. Missing.
Ooh. Got him. Well, good to know. Warning sign. What is your let's talk about like acting for a little bit. What is the like process like for going to casting calls and auditioning?
Cool. Yeah, so I can give you both of those. For auditions, you're usually set up through I was fortunate enough at the time to have like an agent, and it's a lot easier when you do have an agent to get an audition just because they can reach in certain places other people can't. It's kind of nerve-wracking because when you're given audition lines, you have to basically perform it for either like the producer, the co-producer, or the director. You're always in a a small room. It's all, I don't understand why it can't be a big room. It's always a small room. So you walk into a small room, you have like the producer there, director, co-director, and then they go, okay, nice to meet you. Read your line. And they're cold. They're so cold. I'm talking about like ice cold. Like, they don't care. Like, they're just like, okay, here comes number 9872-4BA. Not even a name. And they're kind of just like, okay, read your lines. So you go through your line. You hope you don't fuck up. The majority of the time you fuck up, but it's during that fuck up, you have to understand, like, if you could roll with that fuck up, like, oh, I fucked up, but I'm picking myself back up and I'm acting my way through this fuck up. They actually, they like that. They like that. They like the fact, like, you didn't stop during the middle of your line and be like, oh, let me do it again. Like, oh, you misplaced a line and you skipped a line, or you put different words in that line and you're able to hold that character. That shows that, hey, this person can adjust in the moment.
Yeah.
So that's very, but it is nerve-wracking. It's very nerve-wracking. You're basically, you're getting judged right now. You know what I mean? And a big tip to all the actors out there, if the director tells you to read it again and he wants you to maybe express a certain line or act in a different tone of how you brought it, just listen to him and do it, or her and do it. because that shows that you are, I hate to say obedient, but it means that if you can take directions, it makes it a lot easier, because sometimes there are scenes that may need a different type of energy, or it might need to be tweaked out in a little bit, just because they look at it as this is a two-play situation. Maybe the scene is, you have a very interesting conversation with somebody's mother, and they go, well, we want you to be very cold-hearted. We want you to be very blunt with her. Or it's, we want you to be very caring, or we want you to be very impressed. Like at the drop of a dime, they can ask you just like that. So just nod your head, have the confidence that you can do it, and go and do it.
Yeah, kind of proving that, I don't know, but like easy to work with, and at least being able to like follow an instruction to like take direction, at least in the audition part, and you get your foot in the door.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely agreed. It makes things a lot easier. And then you don't know, you might not even get that audition, but the fact that you were able to handle it as such, they will remember you. Like I've been called to many auditions over to different stuff by the same directors, because they're like, well, we remembered how he did it this way. And also be respectful. Just go in there, introduce your name. Very nice to meet you guys. Thank you guys for having me. You guys have a blessed day. Just that alone will separate you from everybody else who goes in there who's just like, I'm here for the fucking job.
Yeah, first impressions matter. And then, like you said, they'll remember you. So if you make a good first impression, that's going to be a lasting impression, and they're going to keep calling you back for stuff.
Right. And don't get mad if you don't get it the first time, because you are supposed to be in a certain place at a certain time for a reason. You're supposed to get if I were to tell you that 25 no's gets you to that one yes, you would go into those auditions with a completely different mindset. You would sit there and be like, no, okay, 24 more times. Bet. Next one. Is this a no? Please tell me this is a no. If this is a no, good, because that means I only have 23 more no's to go. But we don't think like that. We don't have that mindset. We have oh, tell me it's a yes, because this is my opportunity. This is my only opportunity, and I won't live if I don't have this opportunity.
Yeah. On that note, how do you deal with being told no and rejection?
It took a while for me to get to that mindset of the example that I just that I just gave you. But it's hard. It's difficult, especially when you come from an athletic background to where like your hard work really pays off. If you're third string and you work your butt off with running your routes, shooting the ball, knowing the plays, or whatever it is that you're doing, your coach recognizes that and he'll move you up. Because in that time of you working hard, he will see that. This industry, it's not like that at all. It's not you work hard and you get the payoff, which was such a different aspect of my life, because all I had was sports. And granted, I was good at it, but I was always in the position where I started at third string, and then somehow I ended up a starter. So I always had that, okay, coach thinks I'm like this, I'm going to show him I'm like this, and I end up in the position that I want to be. That's always been the repetition of my career. Yeah, always been the repetition of my career. And when you come to a position where you're like, oh, I'm working hard, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm still not getting it, it's like you beat yourself up. Like you really do tear yourself apart. And for myself, I actually gave myself, I was going to give myself a full year off, but COVID hit. And so I got 2 years away from acting and modeling and all that stuff, just because I got to a certain point where I was like, man, I'm stressed, I'm strung out. LA has just been siphoning me for all of my money. Like I can't take this no more. It's breaking me down. So I took a break. And in that break, I did a lot of soul searching and understanding of the concept of what I was working towards and why I was working towards it. What did I want from being an actor or a model? What did I want to give back into that industry? What was my why? And in that, I found everything.
Yeah,
within those 2 years, which is a blessing. Yeah, definitely. So all you artists out there, ask yourself on a daily basis, why you're doing what you're doing. And if your answers don't match up with what your heart is telling you, then keep on asking that same question. You need to ask that question every single day until you understand, like, your why should be your mantra at the end of the day. I can wake up right now and tell you all my whys and what I do, why I do it, because I've asked myself consistently, why am I doing this? What's the reason behind it?
What is your why?
My why is love, hands down. I love what I do. I love the fact that I can be in a position to be able to give love back. You know, I can be in a certain spot that somebody would love to be in, and I can be like, this is how you get here. So love is my why.
You're in a great opportunity to give back, and that's amazing to hear that you want to do that. That is your why, and that's why you're out here.
Yeah, fact. Or else I'd be back in Kentucky chilling.
No, we don't want that.
I still want a house out there. You can't tell me that Kentucky wasn't fun.
No, I love it. I've said we need a lake house somewhere. We need some property. Fact. So that's fine.
Tell your dad it's his turn to get a boat too.
I have been begging. I'm hoping next summer that it's a thing, because we need to go back to being a boat family. I need to be cute on a boat and living my best life. None of this.
Right. Can we get the opportunity now to live our best lives on lakes now? Not just like as children. Like, can we have a couple of drinks on the boat and maybe fall off?
Right. We didn't get to experience the fullness of being a boating adult. We were children. Now it's our turn.
Now it's our turn. Exactly. Completely. I agree 1000%. So tell your dad it's his turn.
I'll tell him, it's about time. We live in deserts and we don't go to a lake enough. What is this?
Right. So for people who don't know our history when it comes to boats, we used to at least every 3 months have a huge camping trip, whether it be Nacimiento, Buena Vista. I think there was like the only two we used to go to in California. Yeah. So those would be like the number 1 and number 2 lakes that we would go to Costco, buy the same snacks that we would always buy, Pop-Tarts, the Jiffy
little Danishes.
Yeah, the Danishes, the rolls. And then we would always head out for at least a 4 to 5 day camping trip. And we had extended family members and family would show up at this little campsite that probably could only hold 2 families. And somehow we ended up getting 8 families there with a camper. Somehow always made friends with the sheriffs or the deputies. So it's like whenever there was a noise complaint, they would always come over and just be like, oh yeah, man, you guys are just hanging out. You just chilling. So we would always end up with, there was probably about 3 or 4 boats there that we had all access to. We can go skiing, we can go wakeboarding, we can go tubing, or we can just go for a ride. Right. And we would just have some of the best times and memories on these lakes with our families. No technology whatsoever. And just the fact that we were able to be together made a huge difference, because we would want to do it again in the next 3 months.
Exactly. And these are like memories we still talk about years later. It's time we make some more, but it's so important.
And it's our turn to make those memories. Like, I want to hear about how I tried to jump a buoy and did.
I know. I'm like, if I can still kneeboard and wakeboard like I used to, that would be clutch, but it's been a few years.
Right. We'll get back to it. It's going to happen again. For our generation, it'll happen again.
Yeah, we need to. It's about time. My dad just needs to retire, and then he'll have an excuse to just be out on the lake every weekend.
Exactly.
Awesome. What is a message you would want to give to past Max?
A message I would like to give to past Max. Never doubt what your dream really is. Love harder. and continue to be you, because at the end of the day, you will get you to where you want to go.
Great advice. I hope he would listen.
Yeah, I know, right? I don't think I would.
No,
like
go ahead.
talking to my past self, be like, nigga, we struggling. Like, it's okay. Like, you're supposed to go to the struggle right now. You're supposed to be having these heartbreaks. You're supposed to be doing everything right now, because like it's gonna build you into the man that is very much who you want to be.
Yeah. And now you're here. So
Right.
It got you to where you needed to be.
Exactly.
If you could have dinner with any 3 artists, who would it be?
Alive or dead?
Oh, it can be either.
Okay.
They're
Any
your
3?
3. Yeah.
They're my 3. Okay, bet. So Michael Jackson, Freddie Mercury, and Russ.
Great. I'm coming to that dinner.
Right? You feel me?
That would be a great dinner.
That would
Freddie
be
Mercury.
such an entertaining dinner. So much knowledge. So much knowledge. I wonder what Michael would have to say. I would wonder what Freddie would have to say. And then Russ, me and him just be kicking it, just be like, yeah, bro, is this helping you? Because like, this is helping me.
Right. The creative energy probably would be magical.
Ridiculous.
I love that. Okay. That would be great. So I like to typically end my episodes with some advice. So what is a piece of advice you want people to hang on to today?
A piece of advice I would love to give to anybody who is listening is that you never know who and what people are going through. So treat them with the most love that you have in your system.
It's amazing. It's a very good advice. True every day. I try and think about it every day because I know I can react really quickly to things, and I'm like, I'm not responsible for how people treat me. I can only be responsible for like how I react to situations. And I don't know, they could have gone through something really shitty a few minutes ago, and that's why they're acting this way or lashing out on me. So
Right.
just kind of like taking a second to think about like that.
Yeah, because you never know. You never know what anybody is going through. And in that small moment of time, like for a quick example, we were on the 405 and we had just exited off. It was me and my homeboy Kellen, and we were getting ready to go back towards my house. And we were stuck going back onto the freeway. And I saw this elderly man who his bike had gotten stuck in the side of the fence, like right before you get to the crossway before the freeway. And we were backed up in traffic so much to get onto, and I was like, man, I really want to hop outside this car and help this dude. And I couldn't bring myself to it, but something inside of me was like, just go help him. Simple. Just get out the car, go help him. So I hopped out the car. I was like, hey, sir, like, do you need any help right here? He was like, yeah, thank you. Like, I can't get my bike out. So Cat was probably about like 70, 75, you know what I'm saying? And he's riding a bike in LA. What does that tell you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I yanked it out of the fence, and he was like, man, bless you. Thank you so much. Like, I was actually on the way to ride off into this freeway. Like, legitimately take his life. Mm-hmm. And I kind of looked at him in in one of them, like, nigga, are you on drugs? Like, what are you like, and then I was like, sir, you don't need to do that. Like, we need more people like you. Like, if we lose your love, then how are we supposed to get on? And he was like, man, thank you so much for your blessings. Like, I really do appreciate you. And I feel like I can go on with my day. And for that whole day, it just stumped me that what if I wouldn't have gotten out that car and helped him? He probably would have got the bike out and still made the decision to go do it. Now, I don't know if he did it or not, but I felt like he didn't after that. But what if I never did that and he got his bike on his own and still made that decision? So you never know what anybody's going through at what time and where.
Yeah, your impact completely could have changed his decision, and you never know. Thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Max, this has been such a good episode. I'm so happy you wanted to come on my podcast. Guys, fun fact, Max DM'd me on Facebook like a few months ago and was like, when are we doing this podcast? And I was like, I literally never check Facebook, but thank you for coming on this podcast today. I'm so honored to have you. This is going to be such a good episode for people to look back on and listen to. You dropped so much good knowledge and advice, and I feel very good about my Sunday going forward on on this day. But
Good. And again, so proud of everything you're doing, Jordan. I don't get to tell you as much, like, especially since we're on the go and everything, but like I love you so much. I'm so proud of everything that you're doing. I cannot wait for your future to unfold. You still with old boy? I haven't even met old boy. I haven't met old boy yet, so I don't know how I feel yet about that. It's
I still have a boyfriend.
Okay, so just let him know I'm out for his neck if you don't know. But I'm just happy for everything that you're doing, love, and I'm proud of everything that you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I love you too. But plug yourself. Where can people find you?
Okay, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook at MXMILLNN. Both on Twitter as well, on Spotify, iTunes, any type of like media like that. You can look up that same Maximilian, and hopefully you'll love everything that I have on there for you guys.
Yay. Well, amazing. I will drop all of his links and ads in the show notes. So guys, go check out Maximilian. Max, thank you for coming on this week's episode of Hangout with Hewlett.
Appreciate you, Miss Hewlett. Love you, Jordan. Everybody else, love you guys too.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Hangout with Hewlett. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Hangout with Hewlett. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and leave a review for the podcast. Let me know what you want to hear. Thank you for the constant love and support from everybody who's listening. Wherever you're listening to this, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I can't wait to hang out with you next Thursday.